listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show, but I'm Emily Dean. What the blazes? Frank is actually... Are we allowed to say this? He's feeling a bit under the weather today. So I've leapt into his chair like a good friend / vulture, and I'll be here all morning, joined very ably by martial arts grandmaster Alun Cochrane.
Morning. I'm going to skate over that description, but morning.
I love it. It's not going anywhere. And spectacle wearer of the year 1993, Gareth Richards. Oh, I didn't mean to play
She's a lady.
I genuinely did not mean to play
She's
that.
a lady.
Looking back on it, I'm happy with my intro.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so sorry about that. I was actually going to play
if
this,
there's one...
All right.
which I think is nicer.
That's right, but no, you outed me as...
I mean, there could be worse jingles
No,
associated
that's right.
with you.
I'd
Yeah.
happily be
We
a
should
lady.
say, let's...
Gender is a spectrum.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, on that bombshell, let's get the business out the way with. You can text the show on 81215. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us if you're a nana. I mean, anyone can email us. Good morning, boys.
Nanas would write us letters or postcards, wouldn't they? Sometimes we get a snail
You're
mail
so
missive,
right.
don't we?
What's our postcode? I don't even know our postcode.
W1F,
Have we got a PO
W1F.
box?
9DJ.
Oh, 9DJ.
DJ.
Oh, yes, we've discussed this before.
You looked like
'cause-
it was a secret for a moment there.
Yeah.
might
Do you like
not be meant to
that
tell
Big
it.
Daddy's off and Daisy's kind of worming away into the show a bit now, like as
You
part of the
started
posse?
that, though,
I
to be
did.
fair, by asking her a direct question.
This is true. Just, Alan, stop telling the truth.
Sorry. That's what I'm like.
Oh, this is the media nowadays. Alan, stop telling the truth.
Yeah.
You lot on your media studies
We are
degrees.
post-truth, aren't we?
So, we've got all the business out of the way with.
Sure.
I would like to, without further ado this morning, I would like to talk about an incident that occurred last week. Alun Cochrane was present. Gareth,
Right.
you weren't present.
No.
It was a breakfast after the show. Big Daddy was there. It was lovely.
That
I'm not
means
saying-
Frank for anybody new to the show.
Oh, yes,
Just-
that's right.
Or any wrestling fans.
Big Daddy's no longer with us. Is that Big Daddy?
Yeah, it'd be weird if he was there.
I mean, our Big Daddy's fine. Well, he's not fine.
He's not my big
feeling...
daddy. I bridle it. Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble, isn't he? As Frank Spencer would say.
Well, he's had a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Joe Pasquale's playing Frank Spencer. Did you hear that?
What?
Yes, that was the news out this week.
Is this breaking news?
I believe so.
Joe Pasquale
Is playing Frank Spencer.
in what? A dream? What is this?
No, Al, in the story that I read, unfortunately, it had said Joe Pasquale to play Frank Skinner.
Oh, really?
Now, that really was a dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
A very strange dream.
Not the first time he'd have said Frank's words on
No,
it.
it's really not.
Okay, everyone. But yeah, so that is apparently a thing that's happening.
Oh, how exciting.
Okay, everyone excited about that?
Mm.
Anyway, we were
Brunch.
we were having brunch. Thanks, Al. Keep me on the straight and narrow. And Daisy, the producer, she's getting another mention. She had observed someone recently leaving their crusts at the end of a meal we'd been
Oh,
eating, and she was expressing.
Is this one of her kids? Or
No, it was an adult.
An adult?
Yeah, an adult male.
Oh.
And she was expressing, I'm going to say horror at this. She was absolutely horrified that someone had left their cross. She said, I can't believe they left their cross like that. Why would you do that? And so we got into a bit of a debate, didn't we, Al? And we discussed who left their cross. Because I've got to say, I have left my cross before.
Mm.
Daisy,
How recently?
maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
Oh, judge ye not.
Let me check my diary.
But she seemed to be suggesting that, this was a very childlike thing to do, and you left behind, leaving your crusts behind, along with childhood. And why was this person still
Yeah.
doing that? My argument was that I think we've long since been disavowed of the notion that crusts are in any way good for you.
Yeah.
So why eat them? if they're bad for you. If you want, you're an adult, you can do what you want.
I agree with what you've just said on so many levels, not least the opportunity to use the word disavowed. I mean, fantastic.
I haven't used that since I was sued. I've never been sued. Sue me.
Yet.
Yeah, this is true. Joe Pasquale. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, Al, I seem to recall that you were in agreement with Daisy.
Yeah, although, I mean, I think Frank raised the point that if bread's not good for you, why eat extra bread? Because you've been told when you were a child to eat your crusts. Just don't eat.
Yeah.
I personally am thinking of going right the other way because obviously I've got a natural contrarian touch, and I might just start only eating the crusts and then leaving the middle bit of the toast all buttery on plates. Just see how much that foxes the waiting staff.
Oh, I'm so glad you said foxes. I'm just still so relieved you said foxes.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about things that we thought we'd left in childhood, but perhaps we haven't.
And we were talking about crusts, weren't we? Because I think it was very recently that it struck me that actually crusts don't have any health value over the rest of the bread. Because that's what we're taught, isn't it? Is that there's somehow extra vitamins or some sort of hair curling agent in the crust.
Which no one really wants now either. They all buy straighteners.
Yeah. Or hairy chest. People don't want a hairy chest anymore, do they?
Even people
Speak for yourself.
People that have got them don't want them, apparently.
What, hairy chests?
Yeah, I know several gentlemen of my acquaintance who shave their heads, chests. And, shave their heads is a much more common sentence.
The ones that shave their heads tend to work in close protection, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, what's happening to us? And they wear those wraparound sunglasses. But I do think I like a hairy chest. There, I've said it.
Okay. Well, I eat my crusts and have chest hair, so I'm so archaic.
Have I turned Frank's show into Loose Women? I've just said,
yeah.
I like a hairy chest.
Men of the
I've said
world.
it.
When do you think the trend for shaving the chest stopped? It was when Emily Dean announced on Absolute Radio that she liked hairy chests.
Yeah, you've probably
so
freed up
cruel.
a few minutes a month for some guys now. Just putting the bic down, getting on with their day.
We should say you can text in on 81215 if you've got any strange childhood habits. They don't have to be strange, but they're things that happen in your childhood and you would not have anticipated to still be doing them now. For example, I still buy ice lollies.
Oh, nice.
Which is sort of fine if you're buying a pack for a family. But
Right.
no, I go in as an adult female with a decent property and a nice, reasonable lifestyle.
You're doing all right.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
There's no arrested development that's indicative of just your general
There's
presence.
no arrests either. I'm doing well.
Yeah. Clean form sheet.
But I
Good.
go in to the newsagent and say, just the knobbly bobbly, please. Because that is my favourite ice lolly. I don't like grown-up ones like the Macho Cornettos or
Right.
Magnums or of chocolate. It's horrible. Or an ice
Like a
lolly.
knobbly bobbly.
So I like a knobbly bobbly. And I think the comedy element of it appeals to me, but I'm embarrassed to buy it on its own.
Good for you.
Well, yeah, you say that, but my local shop, I thought he was judging me.
Did you buy it with something really grown up, like a copy of The Economist, just to balance it out?
I actually bought it with some loo paper the other day, which was a bit strange, because that's quite an adult purchase. Children don't bother with that. Someone else deals with that.
That's true, yeah. Bin bags, they don't get those either.
But the knobbly bobbly, I should just say, is I was going to say fab, but that's going to get us in all
That'd be
sorts
very
of
confusing.
ice lolly hot water.
They don't like that either.
It's a feast. No, that doesn't work either.
Do you think, guys, that it's strange that I go and buy a single ice lolly for myself? Maybe might have bought one yesterday, sort of 4:30. Is that strange?
I don't know. I think as an adult to eat an ice lolly is not that childish. I still eat the odd scab. Is that,
Oh, what?
Extraordinary revelation.
is that a thing that I should have stopped doing by
In the
time I
north,
got to adulthood?
is that a sort of ice lolly? Please tell me it's a sort of ice lolly.
I don't think
What
we-
you eat?
I don't think we're going to better that, Gareth.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What are we talking about this morning? We're talking about things that we should have put away in childhood, but perhaps haven't, like me and my knobbly bobblies.
Well,
Which is an ice lolly that
Which is an ice
Emily
lolly.
purchases and eats by herself.
That's not, Noel Edmonds' new format.
Helen in Bromley has texted you saying, go to Tesco, they're half price, a box of 4 for £1.
Wow.
What? She adds.
Thanks, Helen.
Then
Appreciate it.
She then adds a scab and an exclamation mark. I'm not sure what that means, but...
Oh, yes. That was the Northern Ice lolly that Alan Cochrane used to eat.
No, I actually meant
Crunchy
a
on the
physical scab.
outside.
I know what you
Yeah,
meant.
I'm not the only person that has a nibble. I mean,
please stop.
I'll be honest, it hasn't lit up the switchboard quite as much as I expected it to with
No.
fellow eaters.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
We'll move on. We'll move
I'm
on.
calling them fellow eaters. It's horrible.
I'm sure it's fine.
On behalf of the eater community, I'd like to really highlight this issue,
Yeah,
and
we
I
don't
think
really
we're
have a
unfairly.
Thank you, Helen, for the info.
top
For the
tip.
info, I enjoy that.
Art and Hugh on Twitter says, think childish things that we carried on. Dare I say, Doctor Who?
Oh.
Controversial one.
Wow. Okay, I feel slightly sick and a bit ill and nervous.
The thing that I
poor
still
Frank's
do that
at
I
home.
think is quite childish.
What's that?
And I definitely thought this would stop at about age 9, but it is still alive and well into my 40s. Is pretending to be asleep when other people come into the room. I am still pretending to be asleep. I mean, how infantile.
When you say other
And
people,
not
you
even-
mean your partner, your
I mean,
life partner.
and my children, like if they walk into the living room, and not even convincing, like at 5 o'clock in the evening, they'll come through and I'll just go, like really unconvincingly.
And is that
I
just
don't-
inertia, or you just think, I want a little lie
I
down?
don't really know what I get from it, but I'm still doing it.
I thought you were all just really sleepy. Whenever I walk into a room, you're fast asleep.
Do you know what I like about this, though, Gareth? Is that slightly irrational, illogical
There's
aspect
nothing
to
for
it.
me in it. I don't know why I'm doing it.
It's not like you've committed a crime and you want some sort of alibi. You
As
just
far as you know,
don't
anyway.
want to engage, really.
I think that could be it. Yeah,
I understand.
You've just therapized me in about 2 seconds there. You just don't want to engage. Okay, sorry.
£160.
You got me. Yeah.
Jack on Twitter says...
Jack on Twitter, is that like Berwick upon Tweed?
he says eating crunchies by eating the chocolate off the ends and then the sides and then giving a mini celebration if you get the top off in one bit.
There's always a mini celebration for that. I don't think, to be honest though, with that crunchy thing, no, I've never done that because then the honeycomb's all depressing and
That's just a lot of sugar you're left with and no chocolate there.
I do Milky Ways that way, getting
Oh, dear.
and Maltesers. I can get all the shell off of a Malteser.
Oh, well done. No, but are you a fan of that then? You like leaving the sort
Yes.
of malt or honeycomb
I like
centre?
having a tradition of how I eat certain things,
Yes.
sort of a ceremony. What's the right word? Yeah, where you eat particular things
Yeah.
in a certain way. I like to lick the flavour off crisps sometimes. Before I eat the
Okay, now
actual
you're
crisp
sounding
itself.
Sounds worse than eating a scab, though.
It does
surely.
not.
That is gross.
Does not, scab eater.
Also, when you said I like to lick the outside of crisps,
Yes,
sometimes it
touch
sounded
of
a
Lecter
little
there.
bit funny. That's exactly
it?
what I was going to say.
With
What's that
fava
mean?
beans. Is my noise.
When I am counting seconds, when I'm in a situation where I have to do that,
Oh, yeah.
I say 1 elephant, 2 elephant,
Oh.
3 elephant.
I'm still on Mississippi.
Oh, do you do Mississippi? Well, maybe that's an adult thing and everyone does that.
I used to tape myself on a tape player and pretend I was doing a radio show as a kid.
you
know? Yeah.
Any
That
tips
sort
for
of-
us today? perhaps?
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
What are we talking about this
We're
morning, boys?
discussing childhood habits
Oh,
that
yes.
we've continued, and we've got a bit of a
But
deal
you can
breaker
text
for
in
me.
on 81215. Sorry, Al.
417 has just texted in. It's a bit of a deal breaker for me. What about sucking your thumb? I'm 47 and still do it. In my sleep, they add. I'll forgive you in the sleep, but I'm not having that as
of course
an
you do,
adult.
because you're only pretending to be asleep.
Exactly.
You don't actually sleep. We've established that. You know what? I feel for them because that's one of those hard things. Maybe it's just very comforting. It's like having a little blanket, isn't it? Or a nai-nai. from
what?
your child.
What's a nine-eye?
No.
I knew this day was going to come. A nine-eye is like a little piece of blankie that you get as a child. Did anyone else have this? Oh, no.
I think that's one of the things where there's different family names for things. Like
I really
I've heard
appreciate
a
your
Nunu,
kindness.
and and sometimes is that not a thing?
No.
Okay, sorry about
It's the thing we'll skate right over.
that. And sometimes people have weird names for their, people have really weird names for their grandparents.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
This is Grangie or.
Actually, that's a good text in. If you've got any strange names for your grandparents, I'd like to know what they are. Because we had some. I can't remember what we called them now. I'll remember. What did we call ours? We had a strange one. I think we called her Mavo.
Never.
Yeah. But perhaps her name was Mavis. I think it may have
Right,
been.
and
We
you were
called her
just early
Mavo.
adopters of Australian slang, where
yeah,
they
I
put
think-
on O onto everything. Steve-o, Mavo.
Oh, yeah, she was in New Zealand, actually,
Oh,
so that's
really?
probably why she was called
There you
Mavo.
go.
Oh, just a sort of slightly Danny Dyer approach to grandparenting.
Right.
Mavo.
If there was a prize to give out for best one of these, if we give a mug or something, I mean, we don't do that, do we? But David Lundberg says the thing he's carried on is making holes in the bottom of eggshells so witches can't use them as boats.
Oh, is that a thing?
Well, I've never heard about that. He said it like it's the most accessible bit of observational comedy, and we'll all be, oh yeah, making holes in eggshells
Well,
so
also-
witches can't use them as boats.
Where does he draw the line? I mean, does he do this at restaurants when he's on a date?
Any vessel he likes to smash, just in case a witch will use it as a
Why
boat.
do witches like eggs? I didn't know that they were such fat. Oh, I tell you, there's something I do, actually, which I'd forgotten about. And this is a bit strange, I sometimes, if I meet someone and I like them, a girl or something, and I'll say, oh, I really like you, I want to be your friend.
Oh, that's fun.
I do that quite often. Daisy's nodding with recognition. I said it only recently. I was with a friend of mine and she introduced me to a girl and I was chatting to her and I just had a very nice feeling about her. And I said, I really like you. I'd really like it if you could be my friend. And she went, oh, okay.
I'd like you to be a friend to me.
Did she flee?
So,
I mean, I haven't heard from her since,
Oh, that's a shame.
but we'll see. Would you be freaked out if someone did that to you? Men don't do that really, do they?
no.
I'd feel similar if somebody knocked on from my street and said, do you want to play out, Alan?
Did you say play out?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't say that.
You didn't say play out?
Oh, we didn't really play with children. We played with adults.
Oh.
But yeah, no, okay, no.
Different.
They'd knock on your door and say, "Can Emily come out to play?" Did you have that, Gareth?
No, the way I make friends is I say, oh, do you want me to smash the eggshell for you so a witch can't use it as a boat?
Anyway, to the woman that I recently asked if approached and asked her to be my friend, and I haven't heard from her. That's okay, because there are plenty of other people I can go up to and say that to.
Yeah.
I mean, I might try it out today. What if I do it with strangers? And like street mate, friend mate? Just walk up to people.
Yeah, you're trying to launch a television show idea. Is that what's happening here?
No, I'm just trying to end this link.
Oh, well, we can end it with my granddaughter calls me Grubs. From
Because she's covered in insect larvae.
Okay, we'll discuss why off air.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So we've got a couple of text-ins people are responding to, because we have the first thing of childhood things that we've carried on doing.
Yes.
One of it from Ali E says, dropping minstrels into hot drinks so that you can fish them out all melted but still in the shell.
Oh,
I mean, that is a
I've never
game
done that.
changer.
That's actually something I've never done, but I plan on starting
Yeah,
as of
we're going
today.
to try. Can we get
Yeah.
some hot drinks and minstrels, please?
Can we get someone on that?
Yeah.
Minstrels.
Oh, wow. Going to
Good.
touch Jeremy Clarkson there.
Let's do it.
I'd get on with that if I was you, just in case she starts swinging
If you
punches.
don't return with them, I won't assault you in any way.
And Beth has gone properly old school and just said, Beth Bailey, I don't eat the crusts and I've never made my kids eat them either.
Oh, good for you.
Has she got
Good,
that
well
in
done.
Latin on a crest outside her house?
Jackie has texted that she counts to, I guess, counts from lightning to thunderclap to get the distance of the thunderstorm. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
But again, that's the thing I think drifts away in adulthood.
Yes, I mean, it always felt just a bit. It felt a bit scientific for me. That I just felt safe with elephants.
Don't think it's that scientific to count.
Oh, it is for me.
Lightning to thunder. And Helen has texted, "Morning. I regularly hide behind doors and in cupboards to jump out on the children, shouting boo or rah. Makes me laugh every time." No mention of how the children find it. None.
Well, they're in their Saturday therapy session, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a bit busy.
No judgment.
Our second stream was interesting names for grandparents, and
I like the stream. What's happened with the stream? I'm enjoying that enormously.
Fiona Caldwell, and this is tinged with sadness.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just preparing myself. I'm just getting
Need
my
a jingle.
my
Do,
sad.
do, do.
Yes, let's do something sad. That's sad. This is my sad jingle.
Called my granddad Gotcha Go when I was 2 because he was always busy and said got to go. I'm 30 and still call him that.
I like that you adopted quite a poignant voice when you read that. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that sad, really. Although I think Gotcha Go, that sounds like it could be an actual name in some ways. Go on, Alan.
Karen from Cheltenham, this is not me speaking. My husband, after eating 2 boiled eggs, turns their empty shell upside down and asks the children if they'd like an egg before declaring, "Oh, it's empty." He then puts a hole in the other end and plays it like a trumpet before pretending to use them as binoculars. The girls still joining. They're 18 and 19.
I love that.
I like the willingness on teenagers who you'd think would be too cool for this game to join in.
I like that it's straying into mental cruelty as well, the childhood pranks.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You were right, Emily Dean. Many people have got funny nicknames for grandparents, or at least unusual. You'd think they'd just be gran and granddad.
So other people have got their own versions of Mavo.
Morning, Emily, Alun and Gareth. Good paying attention texter.
I love this person already.
Yeah, me too. Re, I also love a re at the start of a text.
I mean, frankly, they don't need to do any more.
Re grandparents' names. My granddad was known as Cuckoo Dad on account of owning a cuckoo clock.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure that's why?
That's what they're claiming. My grandma was affectionately referred to as Granny Grotbag. She spent the best part of 20 years trying to change it to Granny Groovy, including signing of birthday cards with the Groovy moniker. Sadly for her, this was to no avail, and a ...
Well, this is the thing about these nicknames.
Yeah, they stick.
I don't know.
Jinx.
Yeah, you two. You know what? You're like those twins in The Shining. That's it. Granny Grotbags.
Sam from Reigate says we call our grandfather Spanish Dave because he has silver hair like an old Spanish man.
Is he a great train robber? I mean, he sounds like a great train robber. All right, come and stay at my villa. It's lovely. Oh, that's just a gold ID bracelet I picked up. I'm sure he's lovely, Spanish Dave. I like the idea of giving a region to your grandparent.
Oh, well, I've got that in my family because
on.
my mother is called Granny Scottish to my children. So
I love that. And was that you that decided upon that?
I think I began it, yeah, but it's now got, the wind in its sails for sure.
We never knew on my mother's side. I mean, this is getting a bit who do you think you are? But on my mother's side, my grandmother, because she had 5 husbands, it just got confusing.
Right.
And she would say, in front of that person, don't call me that name. She had about 15 different names.
And what was she to you? Grandma 5 husbands?
Pretty much,
That would have been a good nickname. And then brackets and counting in case she began another relationship.
Granny can't quite make her mind up. I like Grandfather Cuckoo. I think that's one of my... what was his name? Grandad Cuckoo?
I think it was, yeah.
I think he's one of my favourites.
Me too.
I enjoy that. Well, I have something else I need to discuss with you. I don't know how imminent the fez is, because we have a fez, we should say, which the producer produces, ironically enough, from her person. And she shows it to us to indicate that it's time to move on and the link's about to end. But I need to talk to you about a communique I've had with Ross Noble.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a slightly orcs aspect to it.
Well, that's orcs, because he's what I would call a friend of the show.
He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. I adore that man.
Mm-hmm.
So he's about to star in Young Frankenstein, the musical. I think that's out there, isn't it? I think people know that.
Is it?
And, well, let's hope so, because that'll be Orcs number 2.
Breaking news.
He sent me a message saying, what's the best email to invite the Skinner gang? Which I thought was lovely.
Oh.
And then I was about to reply and I suddenly realised, who are the Skinner gang?
Oh.
Does he mean the radio show? And if so, all of us? Does he mean Frank's mother-in-law and brother-in-law and sister-in-law? Does he mean, is the Skinner gang our Nora, our Terry? I don't know who the Skinner gang actually are. So I thought maybe it's another group of people entirely. So I'll just send him an email. And I gave him a series of contact numbers. And I said, I am on, and then my email address. Frank's PA is on, which in itself sounds quite rude, Frank's PA. And then I said, this is Daisy Producer's email, should you wish to invite. And now it looks like I'm expecting all of these people to be invited and all of their entourages.
You think?
And I haven't heard from him. I feel absolutely sick.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show. I'm Emily Dean, and I'm standing in for Frank this morning. He's a little bit poorly, as they like to say up north. But we wish you well, Frank, and we hope you're feeling much better. You can text the show on 81215, or you can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I'm here this morning, and I'm with Gareth Richards. Good morning, Gareth.
Good morning.
I'm here with the Cockerel.
Morning.
I mean, I'm happy just to call you the Cockerel these days. We don't need your full name. So, yeah. I'll tell you what I wanted to talk about this morning. Mm-hmm. We haven't mentioned, which is a bit of a hot news story, Hitler's pants.
Yeah, we haven't. I was thinking you've already been boasting about how solvent you are. And now here's something that perhaps you may want to invest some of your filthy money in.
OK, I like the sound of this.
Pair of Adolf Hitler's
I'm worried on taste grounds, I'm not going to lie.
Initialed underpants are up for auction in the US.
Wow.
They've been kept apparently since I'm reading directly from the Daily Mail here.
OK.
They've been kept since the Nazi dictator forgot them when he left a hotel in Graz. Is that how you'd say that?
Well, yeah, but I didn't think it was the Premier Inn in Norwich.
No, true enough.
Which I have stayed in, actually.
It was in Austria, you're right.
When Adam Buxton got married.
You stayed in a Premier Inn in Norwich?
It's the only time I've stayed in one, and you know what? It wasn't that bad.
No, they're all right.
So you can have that for your advertising slogan. Premier Inn, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I wonder if the lads know they're all right, Alan Cochrane. I doubt it. They'll probably just stick with Lenny Henry instead of us two, as they're endorsing comic
yes,
voice.
They don't need us, Al. They don't need the likes of us.
Now, I wonder if Hitler did forget these pants, or if he was an early adopter of the system that has been used on this show of when pants are getting what my mum would call a bit done. You know when clothing is reaching the end of its life, you would call it a bit done. Oh, that T-shirt's a bit done, and what it means is the neck's gone all baggy and it's no longer presentable.
My gay godfather always says, who's Australian, he says, that's seen better days.
It's seen better days. Yeah, maybe the pants had seen better days and he just left them on purpose, thinking...
I think these pants have seen much worse days, can I just say?
It doesn't get worse than the kind of days these pants have seen.
I don't think they had the emotional understanding of what was going on.
I think you're absolutely right.
But, you know...
But if you're talking about pants seeing days, that is personifying
True
pants.
enough.
And the days these pants saw.
Apparently, it turns out the pants are quite roomy.
Yeah, they look to me like...
No, I've heard that. I mean, genuinely, it says, Al, they measure 39 inches at the waist.
39 waist? Goodness
Well, I don't
me.
know about waists. I mean, is that...
That's big. I mean, I'm a much bigger man than he would have been. I mean, like, physically, I don't think he was 6'3".
Don't put yourself down.
Yeah. You're the bigger man. Between you and Hitler, definitely.
I would say you're definitely a bigger man than
I mean, he's
him.
a physical specimen. I don't mean it's, like, you know, in terms of...
Yes, no, I understand. In terms of sort of
emotional
moral code.
maturity.
Yeah.
But then maybe the fashion, assuming Hitler was wearing the most fashionable underwear at the time, was for more baggy underwear now. Because now it's more a boxer brief, isn't it?
Yeah.
Backs are brief.
Whereas these seem quite
But
big
he must have
and
spent all day trying to hitch
roomy.
them back up, or... like, No wonder he was annoyed.
History would have been very different had he spent all day trying to hitch his
No
pants
wonder
back
he was
up.
annoyed at the world if his pants
Yeah.
were constantly dropping down.
Bad art. Nothing going from that man. Couldn't draw. Can't find a pair of pants to fit him. There was someone who is... What was his name, this character? He's called Karl Wilhelm Kraus. And he's somehow involved with the auction. Don't ask me for specifics.
Oh, really?
But he said, it is no secret, of course, I'm not doing a German accent, I could have and I didn't, that Hitler was in general an atrocious dresser and preferred the loosest clothing.
Is that what it says?
Well, that apparently, it said according to his valet. I can't believe his valet is still going.
No.
But anyway, I sort of thought maybe that's not the most atrocious thing about him. The fact that he liked the loosest clothing.
No.
Epic
there
style fail, Hitler.
There are other issues, aren't there? And for me, this is worrying all round because I think there's two sectors of the population. Those who like to buy other people's used underwear and people who like to collect Hitler memorabilia. And neither of those
They're
groups
both involved.
I'm worried about both of those. And I'm particularly worried about the crossover between those two groups and
Let's
who
say
that guy is. Or
if-
girl.
Let's say...
It sounds like a
Gareth,
bidding war to me that you just described.
If it says, going to a kind, loving home, I don't think you'll find that where those pants
One
are going.
careful user.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So Hitler's underpants,
Okay.
we were talking about.
That wasn't the name of their track, by the way. Yes, we were talking about Hitler's pants, which are up for auction. I believe they think they're going to fetch... They all say fetch with auction prices, don't
They
they?
do, yeah.
£5,000.
Is that all?
Well, I would have thought more.
Yeah.
But then, as Gareth says, I mean, who's going to buy them? Some weirdo.
Well, not me now that I know that there are 38.
Or a museum. Maybe a museum, the Pants Museum. Is there a Pants Museum?
How would you hang them? It does seem an odd piece of memorabilia.
Yeah. For
Is
me,
there a pre-existing interest in World War memorabilia?
Let's
that
ask Al
already-
Murray.
Is that already a thing? I think it is. I'm interested in the fact that his pants are initialed, like
yeah.
AH.
AH. I wonder if he thought he had an idea every morning when he looked at his pants and he thought, and then if it had been the other way around, he might have found it funny, like, ha.
Or maybe he needed to...
If he just laughed slightly more, different story.
Maybe he needed a constant reminding, because it's almost like he had low self-esteem or something.
Do you think?
Yeah. But I noticed there's the Globe is also for sale. But interestingly, that's going to get 100,000 and the pants only 5,000. Seems a huge disparity between pants and Globe. Why so?
I have a mental problem with that globe.
He only
because-
had one globe. That's the thing. I'm steering
wrong.
around the pants issue very carefully.
He's not unlike my dog Raymond in that respect, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
The globe, I think,
We're talking about the Globe now.
the actual
Yeah.
globe that's Hitler's, that's for sale. I think I want that, but I think that's because I think of the Charlie Chaplin film where he spins a globe
Right.
and then leans on it and falls off it.
Yes.
And that was not Hitler, to my knowledge. Although, maybe we'll get a text in saying, actually, you're wrong. I'm an expert on Hitler and he did once lean on that globe and fall over.
Yeah. And it was a reference to that. But I mean, yeah, I don't think... Look, the fact is, I don't think I'd really want any Hitler memorabilia. And I certainly don't want someone's old pants.
Breaking news.
That are done.
Breaking news.
I did
Emily
ha-
Dean, I don't want any Hitler memorabilia.
I don't. I mean, I did know a gentleman once. I'm making this sound a bit sus. But he was actually of the glasses on a lanyard persuasion, if you know
Right.
what I mean.
Older.
No.
Oh, okay, got you.
I don't think he would have been interested in dating me.
Right.
I mean,
Got you.
that doesn't mean he's not straight, to be fair. He was gay, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Pretty sure you're allowed to say
Done
it
with
rather than just
euphemisms.
tiptoeing around.
Sick of it. Anyway, he brought out a pair of Queen Victoria's bloomers once after dinner.
Hang on, is that a euphemism? Is this some cocktails? Queen Victoria's bloomer, anyone?
You
No,
like, so I don't eat bread.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't a name for poppers or something. But he decided, as he
Oh,
brought...
they didn't have poppers in those days.
No.
And bloomers.
Yeah, I was talking about exactly. I was talking about the bloomers. It was sort of after dinner entertainment, and we all took snaps.
What does that mean? Okay, so
They were drinking schnapps.
Okay.
And it was really nice. And I thought, well, I don't know what these cost you. Let's say 3K.
Right.
But probably it's worth it. If you added up all the after 8 mints and brandies you'd have had to have bought over the years, and you just got the bloomers instead. Yeah. It's a lovely party trick.
Yeah, in a way, it's a cost saver, isn't it?
Yeah.
This whole thing is a damning indictment of the monogram as a way to keep stuff, because they didn't get back to him, did they?
Good point.
They were initialed and they never got them back.
Yeah, it's not really like a lost luggage label, is it?
No. Didn't work.
That's true. Well, so have we established here that none of us would buy these pants?
No.
I'm a grey area because I'm not going to buy them because I know they're not my size. But
You're not going to buy them?
Were they a 32 or a 34, then maybe I'd ponder it.
Or were they, a bit cheaper?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, Emily, it's very exciting. We have some minstrels, other disc-shaped chocolate with a crispy shell on the outside are available. They're not really.
Other minstrels are available, but they tend to be the wandering play music type, and they're not as much fun to dip in coffee.
Like you two at the Edinburgh Festival, but we'll return to that.
So Ali E said her childhood thing she still does is dropping minstrels into
Ali
hot
E.
drink so that you can fish them out all melted but still in the shell. So the idea is this will still be a crispy shell but with melted chocolate on the inside. So I'm dropping. You ready? I'm dropping my minstrel into the hot drink.
Gareth, can we build a tension? I'm just rattling the packet so they can hear me.
Okay.
It's like an episode of The Archers.
It is. Awful.
Well, I heard The Archers. Did I tell you this?
Awful radio.
I'm getting to quite like it. I heard it. I shouldn't be promoting it on the radio. No, I heard it the other day. But guess what the cliffhanger was, Al? Guess what the cliffhanger was? Dad, I'm going to defer my place at university. Tune in tomorrow to find out.
See, I worry that even singing that tune has made some people reach for the button that turns the radio off, just in case. But
okay.
I think people are probably off by now if this isn't their cup of tea.
You need to get that out. You need to get that.
So I'm going to fish it out.
I've got
that's been in there for about 30 seconds, is it?
This is like some terrible cookery programme.
Yeah.
So what am I doing, chaps? Am I putting a minstrel in my drink?
Yeah.
In my coffee? It's
there.
going in. Do I stir it?
I think you just leave it in there for a while. Gareth's done his.
Great.
And now he's going to put it in.
Mine's out. I'm going to taste mine.
I'm going to do the talking during this because I don't like this confectionery. And also my coffee comes with full-fat cream, so I do not need any sugary extra help.
Okay.
I'm fat adjusted. I like fat better than sugar, guys.
Okay.
I mean, it is a judgment.
I'm enjoying this, but I'm not sure what great radio it is.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
That's really great. That
Okay.
minstrel, that was really good.
Are you glad you listened to all that so we can establish it's really great?
Really soft and melty on the inside and then still crunchy on the outside.
Okay.
I give it 2 thumbs up.
Do you know, that link's nearly over, and I don't feel we've achieved very much. I feel all we've done is put minstrels in a drink and sing the Archers theme
How
tune.
dare you?
Yeah.
That was compelling radio, and if I don't get some sort of cookery show after this...
He's going for it again.
There it goes.
Genuinely loved it.
Have you tasted yours, Em?
No.
That's what people are waiting for.
Okay,
I'm
really?
not sure that's what
The
people
nation
are waiting
is,
for.
I think they've got more going on in their lives. Listen,
Men have stopped shaving their chests to see whether you like melted in the inside minstrels.
Okay, well, that I do want to talk about.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking on Absolute Radio this morning about a number of topics, but you can text in on 81215 about if you had any strange names for your grandparents. In my case, Mavo. And also we're talking about childhood habits that you haven't quite let go. So you can text us in about that. And also, Ross Noble, you can text me just to put my mind at rest that you're still talking to me, because we had a really orcs exchange and you left me kind of hanging.
And am I included in the Skinner gang? Because
well, this is the other thing. I mean, it's all getting a bit even more awkward because Gareth's here today. And who is the Skinner gang? I think that's what we need to know.
Extended Skinner gang.
We should say, in case you've just tuned in, this news just in, Ross Noble invited us out to Young Frankenstein and he invited the Skinner gang, and I don't know who that is.
Or it could be the East London Street Gang. known as the Skinner Gang, who, I shouldn't talk about them
And
anymore.
he might just think I have contact numbers for them. And then I bombarded him with a series of different
I
emails.
got into a little spot of bother with the Skinner Gang. If you've got any contacts, you would be someone who might have some contacts to help you out of a mob problem.
But if someone sends you an invitation to a musical and you then send them 3 separate emails, that seems somewhat grabby, but I was just covering all my bases.
Best not to obsess about it.
Well, the good thing is we can talk about it
I think
here.
you've really styled it out by mentioning it on the radio. I think that's really, if there was any awkwardness, you've really smoothed over that.
Thank God he's such a reasonable man. I mean that genuinely.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I need to talk to you two because you were both in Edinburgh. I wasn't there this year, which was a great loss to that city. But you were both there doing... I rip it up there. You were both there doing your little shows.
Love it.
And I wondered
Love
if
that as a description.
if you may have
Your skits.
if you may have encountered each other during your sketch shows.
Well,
So during Edinburgh Festival, where there's a pretty month-long comedy festival where everyone does a show a day, because some people don't know how it works.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going down the
Sometimes
Frank Skinner
explain everything.
conversation in the...
Yeah.
And
We met once.
once in
Yeah.
a queue for food in a place that I then stayed
Sounds a
in the
bit
queue.
depressing, like Ken Loach film.
No, it was a busy cafe eatery type thing.
Okay.
And Gareth went. The queue was too big.
I was just
wasn't it?
ahead of you in the queue.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing was I was ahead of you in the queue.
And still bailed.
I was with my friend Chris, one of my Camden friends.
Oh, Gareth, you know what this sounds like? When people are telling you about the when we met story. So he was ahead of me in the queue. No, you tell it.
Yeah.
No, I will. He was a bit ahead of me, and then you say, Gareth, what happened?
So it was about halfway through Edinburgh, so my nerves were a little frayed.
It was
and it's
closer to the end than that, my
was
friend.
it?
Your nerves were
Seemed,
more frayed than that.
And so you will storm out of eateries if things don't go exactly the way you need them to go at that point.
Really?
Is that fair? So
think
you're a
that's what
little on
happened.
the edge. So we got offered a table, but it was offered at a table sharing with 2 men on a laptop. We're on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Separate laptops, not 2 men on one laptop.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't sit with 2 just strange men. I'm going somewhere else. So
Yeah.
we said hi, and you're with your family?
Hang on, were the
was
men
already.
sharing the laptop then?
No, it was 2. They had a laptop each.
Okay. Okay.
They're doing ever so well. It's quite a nice place.
I know, I
in
just
case,
don't like the phrase lap and men. It just makes me feel a bit uneasy.
Orcs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just in case my family are listening, it was when you guys were up. It wasn't another family that I had
Yeah.
in Edinburgh.
I didn't
was
want
just
to,
knocking about.
I didn't want to say anything in case it wasn't your wife and kids, but just another woman
Yeah.
and kids who you hang out with.
Yeah. She's got blonde and called Angel, isn't she?
That's right, yeah. And the
Oh, is
children
those
are 20
Perspex
and
heels?
18.
Yeah, I thought that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. 'cause,
19-year-old
I
girls.
say children dancers.
I was there with my family, so you'd think I would be the one that would be frantic and stropping out of the restaurant because there's a 6-minute wait, whereas it was Gareth
No,
and
it
his
was-
pal just
it
went.
was me. I couldn't cope with it.
But that was the only time I saw you in the whole
Yeah.
festival, which I always find strange when you think, I'm in a city where I know loads of people, and there are people that I know well that I did not text and did not bump into in the street during the whole month of living. That
Really?
blows my mind a
It's all
little
gone a bit Ross Noble.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Can I just say, I have the Fez in front of me, but I do want to hear more about your
Retournez-vous.
Edinburgh experience and yours, Gareth.
Okay.
Because I think we'll come to understand that Gareth's nerves were getting what I call a bit Richard Hammond's jean bottoms frayed.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, I think my throat made a little noise there.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, I think. Did you hear it?
I did. I thought I might have done it, so that's good, isn't it? that
Can
it
we just say,
wasn't-
did everyone hear it?
I
Yes.
didn't know. I
Okay.
would-
Oh, we've got 3 texts already saying...
Is it
was
about
that-
my throat
was
making
that
the
Emily's
noise?
throat? Yeah. Is there a frog in the studio, or did Emily just not...
I mean, Emily's throat is making a noise throughout the show.
Yeah,
What
but
I
she's
think-
not down
Talking.
normally.
What I think I'm really good at is moving on from things and not
Okay.
turning them into
Yeah,
awkward
yeah.
situations.
Mm.
Still no text from Ross Noble.
But as we move on,
Yeah.
if you heard Emily's throat, 8, 12, 15, do let us know. No, go by an email.
Yeah. Gareth, we want to hear about your horrendous meltdown.
Did you have a meltdown?
Edinburgh Festival. Well,
Oh,
I mean,
excellent.
No, he had an awk
They should call
situation.
it the Meltdown Festival.
yeah.
No, I meant the meltdown in the cafe. But
Certainly, Antarctica.
you had the cafe meltdown. But how was your Edinburgh otherwise?
Yes, I mean, you're not at your best at Edinburgh Festival at times. It's 3 weeks long, and you can be at your most narcissistic and sort of status anxiety
You should see me in
levels.
London, love.
For instance, I don't think, Alan, it's okay 2 weeks
Oh,
into the festival
goodness.
for someone to bump into you and say, "Oh, have you got a show up this year?"
I didn't do that.
Is that what-
No, you didn't, but people did that.
That
And
happened
when
to
you,
me.
Yeah.
There was a pretty horrendous 30
What do you think I'm
seconds.
doing here?
There was a
happened to
pretty
me.
horrendous 30 seconds when I thought Alan
Yeah.
had said that to you.
Honest
No.
fear in his eyes, real fear.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
Did someone say that
happened.
to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you just have to
Someone
go,
who I know, who works in the comedy industry, who should know that I had a solo
Who works
show
in
on.
this room? No.
No.
What did they say then? They just say, have you got a show up here?
Actually, I think they said something like, "Oh, you're doing a few gigs while you're up here," and I then had to go, "No, I'm doing a show that I've worked on for the whole month."
You see, I think having...
publicised, and I've paid to be advertised,
Yeah.
and I've
Doesn't make me
been
wonder if
doing,
that-
and I imagine word's really got around by now. This incredible show I'm doing.
I think, Gareth, that's the equivalent. It belongs in the same families. In having grown up in a theatrical family, the worst thing was if you would go on stage and you're sort of playing Hedda Gabler and someone says, "Your hair looked very nice."
Right.
That's the slams that go on in the theatre world. And so is that an intentional slam, is what I'm saying?
No, I think
Or
it's just people just don't realise. It's just thoughtless, isn't it? But I think assume if you meet a comedian in Edinburgh during the festival, err on the side of they're probably doing a show.
Yeah, rather than "Are you doing a show?" maybe "What time is your show?" That could
Yeah.
indicate that you think they're doing a show. You
Well-
just can't remember the
It's
detail.
better to say, "Oh, I'm not actually doing a show
Well, it's
this
a
year."
bit
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
I always say to anyone with a vaguely Antipodean sounding accent, "Oh, are you from New Zealand?" Because Australians will never get offended.
Oh, really?
Do you see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
really?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I just listen to their accent and get the right one. Can you not do that?
No, I
So
only,
you
I only
think-
lived in
you
both
think-
countries for nearly 7 years.
So you think it's offensive? You don't want anyone to think you're calling them Australian.
No, my point being that
Kiwis get
Australians
annoyed
don't
about
have... Yes, because they have a sort
Okay,
of, you know,
got you.
the poor relation thing. I mean, I'm half New Zealand, so I can say this.
You're
I love
half New
Kiwis.
Zealand?
Yes.
It's only a little island.
But what I want
I'm
to
half
know is,
Kiwi.
Oh, is
But we want to know about what else happened.
was that the worst thing that happened to you in the 2 weeks?
it? By no means.
Really?
Hang on. You
Do you
might
know
have
what?
to tell us another time.
I think we might have to settle down round the fireside because I want to prepare myself for this.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio, but our lovely Frank isn't here this morning, but I'm here, and Alan's here,
And so am I.
and Gareth's here. All right, I was getting to you.
Yeah, wait your turn.
Don't be so thirsty. You can
Said it
text
for
the
a
show.
moment.
Let me do my
Okay,
business.
okay.
Mummy's doing her business. Sounds awful. Sorry. Most awful thing I've ever said in my whole life to any human beings collected in any room.
And that's some leaderboard, isn't it? I mean, to be fair.
I'm still in shock at myself. I do apologise to any
Okay.
God-fearing people out there. You can text the show on 81215. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. You can turn off in disgust at what I just said. I'd rather you didn't. Or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. It's nice to, you know.
I think Gareth's just a bit keen because he's had so many chocolates that have been dipped in coffee. But
Yes.
we'll move on. Oh, we've had a text that I like. Are they
Yes.
sure about the pants? Remember we were discussing Adolf Hitler's pants?
Not the first time I've been asked that.
Are they sure about the pants? The AH and the size could lead one to believe that they're Alfred Hitchcock's. It could be an
Oh, my
enormous
days.
clerical error from that time that Alfred Hitchcock spent in Austria. and the hotelier just got confused.
But that's not a bad
And
idea.
it was quite a full room, so he had to bunk up with Hitler.
Yeah, it's one of those stories.
This is your underpants, Adolf, or...
Yeah.
That would be a straight... That's like an Edinburgh show.
Yeah.
When Alfred met Adolf.
Gareth Richards and Alan Cochrane play
Yes.
Alfred Hitchcock and Adolf Hitler.
Surprise casting.
Sorry, it's standing room only today.
Everyone else
Or
was busy.
what about Alan Hansen on an away game, surprise away game? I mean, I know the eras are all a bit mixed
Alan
up.
Hansen?
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
When you talk about
I'm not sure.
Adolf,
Not sure who's a 38 waist either, but
he's a
that's
trim. He's a
unbelievable.
trim soul.
very slender.
Lovely.
Apparently a very good golfer, but then I think that about all the footballers. You know, they're
They like a bit
encouraged.
of golf, don't they?
Active leisure.
Oh, I'm not sure if Gary plays golf. I'm not even
Oh.
saying the surname. There's no need. There is only one Gary. Yeah.
You'll say it, won't you? Dangerous. He'll say it. Yeah,
Anyway.
the active leisure thing, it keeps
Yeah.
him out of trouble. It's not as dangerous as
Does
like
it though?
squash or skiing or something, but,
Yeah.
you know, still a leisurely thing.
Okay, that's worth
Not
knowing.
sure it entirely keeps him out of trouble, you're right.
No, footballers in trouble.
Yeah.
Happy bedfellows.
Yeah.
Gareth.
So, yes, Edinburgh Festival. I mean, I would like to say that this following story doesn't show me in the best possible light. But, you know, we know, we're all
Bring it
we're all
on.
we all know what it's...
leaned in and rubbed their hands.
So I was hanging out with my friend Mark Olver, who's an excellent comedian and TV warm-up man.
Oh, yes. Did he used to do Deal or No Deal?
Yes,
Yes.
does all
Did.
sorts of the shows.
A lot
He's
of good warm-up.
Very
And a
good.
funny comic.
He's a very good comedian.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with him, and we met a newer comedian called Will Duggan. Do you know Will?
Probably.
Duggan?
I'm
Yeah.
not great with names.
Oh, not great with names. Well, you would have been no good in this story at all. So I met...
Oh, I do know Will Duggan.
Yeah, of course you do.
I do, yeah, of course.
like because comedians generally know pretty much all the other comedians. If you've been
Okay.
doing comedy a while, you're on the circuit. People pretty much. Is that
Well,
right? Alan?
now you tell
pretty
me.
much.
I wouldn't have gone
comedians know
through
all
so-
the other
so
comedians.
many of
Would you
them.
say?
Yeah, I would
say
say
that's
so.
correct?
I mean,
Yeah.
eventually. I
Yeah,
think. You know,
eventually.
obviously you have to work with them a first time and then
Yeah.
a second.
I feel there's a certain
then
way he wants you to answer each time.
I think so, yeah.
So just be mindful of that.
Yes.
But I'd like to play devil's advocate because I've got such a bad memory that sometimes if a comic's not amazing, I need to work with them 200 times before I take them in.
Okay.
Anyway,
Over to you, Gareth.
how did...
I think it's fair
Yeah,
to
I know.
I don't
say...
know if that's helped.
Well, I'm someone. If I meet someone once, or like I remember them, it's a bit like Homer Simpson and Mr. Burns, where Mr. Burns never remembers Homer Simpson. Like you're
Okay.
a definite Mr. Burns, aren't you? You'll meet someone, you'll be like, "Oh, nice to meet you." We've met hundreds of times.
This makes me a baddie in this story.
Yeah.
Paul Cochrane innocently sitting here. Okay, so on with the story, please.
Yeah. So we meet this guy Will. I won't say his surname again.
Said it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's out
I
the
said it
back.
again. No, he's a lovely man. But Mark Oliver goes, Will, have you met Gareth? And Will goes, no, I never met Gareth. And he goes, do you know? Guess his surname.
Oh.
Says
Okay.
guess his. And I've never heard of the game Guess His Surname before.
That's because
Not
there
a
is no
game.
such
There's
game.
no such game,
Not
and
a
this is
game.
not a good thing to be doing at the Edinburgh Festival, where it's all about trying to make a name for yourself. You've been doing a show for 2 weeks, and Mark Olver suggests a game of Guess Your Surname.
But it's a good
Gareth?
guessing game, I think.
It is, and can I
like
just
it,
say,
yeah.
Gareth sounds fabulously on the edge, so I'm going to leave you hanging there for a minute.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Gareth.
Yeah, so we're in Edinburgh Festival. Mark Olver, I've just met a comedian called Will Duggan, and Mark Olver has suggested to Will a name of Guess Gareth's Surname.
Okay.
Now, it's not many times in life you get a measure of where you are in the pecking order of your field and how well your name
Stick
is
around.
regarded by others.
Right.
And this, during Edinburgh Festival, when you're right on the edge, it is not a good time for that to happen. So, and Will's in a difficult situation here, isn't he? This is an awkward situation. Mark Olver has lost his mind suggesting this game. So
I feel Will is more sinned against than sinning.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Will has absolutely no idea who I am. And he's not alone, is he? Let's face it,
Well,
but just,
statistically, when you think
Yeah,
of,
no, yeah.
what is it, 7 billion people on Earth?
yeah.
So,
You're such a kind friend, Al.
What? No,
You're
I'm
just
trying to
making him
help.
feel better. You are. I think
Trying
that's
to
a
help.
kind
There are a
friend.
lot of people.
Would you be
and
my
we
friend?
can't expect them all to know who Gareth is.
No.
Okay.
And bear in mind also, I'm aware of the situation. I know, in my normal life, this doesn't cross. I mean, my mum works in the office, and you know who one of the other people she works with? Gareth Malone's mum. Works in the same office.
I like that because he's in the choir, you
So
called
you're
it
not-
The Office.
Oh
like
my
it's
goodness, that is going to hurt. You're not even the most famous Gareth of the sons of the people your mum works with.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
I also
Brutal.
like the fact that his mum works in The Office.
I mean, just for context, that's like my mum working in the same office as Alan Carr, and when they
Yeah.
discuss their Allans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one day your mum will chip in and goes, "Oh, do you know actually my son is a comedian and he's
Yeah.
called Al- and you know
I mean,
Alan Carr's mum."
I'm glad that doesn't happen. Just
Anyway,
Me
for the
too.
record.
so Will's got no idea. He suggests some Gareth comedians who I haven't even heard of many other Gareth comedians. So he's going through Gareth's.
Gareth Bale.
Nowhere near has not got. And so I start to act sort of mock angry. I'm not really angry. But I just think, it'd be funny in this situation
Except
if I
he
pretend
is really
that I'm angry.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I go, so not a comedy fan then? when he, which, and then he starts to feel like, well, I haven't put myself in this situation. Why you, and then he keeps getting, he goes, oh no, I know who you are. I know who you are. You were Welsh Unsigned Act of the Year 2015.
Welsh.
Welsh Unsigned Act of the Year 2015.
Okay.
Now, I was nominated for Best Newcomer at the Edinburgh Festival in 2010. Readers of the show will remember the nomination from those days of when I was here. Like, I
Okay.
haven't achieved a lot in comedy, but I've been doing it for...
Gareth.
A chunk
Gareth.
of time.
Gareth, we've got to just go to an ad break,
Okay,
but I
that'd
just
be
want to
good.
tell you,
Have a nice-
it's not your fault.
It's okay. I'll pull myself
It's not your
together.
fault.
I'll pull myself together in the end.
It's not your fault.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Can I just say, in that, I don't know if it was in that last link, we just heard some extraordinary news, which was that apparently the assistant on the show, should we call her Lemmy assistant, was helping police with her inquiries while she went to get our coffees. So more news on that story as it comes in.
Breaking news.
Yeah, genuinely just happened. I think an alarm was going off in a restaurant, in fairness. But, it's
In
not something you want
fairness.
to hear.
It's a long walk for a coffee.
Gareth, what the hell happened?
Yeah, so anyway, the situation with the comedians in Edinburgh.
Guessing game.
It was, guess the surname of Gareth Richards. Did not go well.
Okay.
He said, oh yes, I do know you. You were Unsigned Welsh Act of the Year 2015, a time when I'd been doing comedy for at least 10 years.
Okay.
So I don't think I'd have been eligible for that
No.
And and so I was like being mock angry, and then he goes, well, you seem to have quite a bad attitude, and I was
Before
like, uh-oh.
Before we move
Did he
on,
actually say that?
I like the fact that you're ignoring the fact you don't seem to be Welsh as well.
No,
It's your
Gareth.
years in the comedy game that is putting you out of the Welsh Unsigned Act.
So hang on.
Carry on.
The man actually said, yes, I'm calling him the man.
Yeah.
The man actually said...
You're getting angry.
Yeah, he accused you of
So,
the
well, because Mark said, well, you got nominated to Best Newcomer in 2010, and the guy said, well, he seems to have a bad attitude about it since. And it's like, well, at that point, I'm going, oh no, this is going terribly wrong, and I don't have the emotional reserves to deal with the social situation of this
I
sort of
understand.
delicacy.
And
So
all
how-
the while this is happening, is Mark over sort of twiddling an evil moustache?
Yeah,
And going,
basically
"Bah."
rubbing
He
his
sounds
hands
a
together.
Machiavellian character. So what, yeah, exactly. Did he have a cape
stirrer.
on? So what happened in the end?
So then we all go into because they're about to do a gig, and I feel like, oh no, this has all gone terribly wrong. I need to get out of here. I'll just go, and I'll go and be by myself somewhere. And
that sounds a very healthy response.
run away. And so I sort of say, oh, bye, Mark, I'm going to go now. And I go, oh, bye, Will, I'm going to go. And he goes, oh, are you not on? And I go, well, no, according to you, I'm barely a comedian. And that didn't help, did it? That's not,
Well,
that's
you
not
know
gonna
what?
help.
I think
felt very bad about it.
I won't be friends with them anymore, Gareth.
I'd like to apologise publicly to Will Duggan
Okay.
for being weird in Edinburgh. I'm a human man.
Do I owe
Who
you
was
one?
under a lot of pressure.
I'm a human man. What is happening to this show? I'm a human man. I said Mummy's doing her business. Frank's going to be so upset with us.
Can I fact check with you, Emily? Do I owe Gareth an apology for how much I'm enjoying this story of a colleague having a breakdown at the Edinburgh Festival?
I think it's fair to say I've never seen Al so happy in his life. The glint in his eye. It's like the light in a cab coming on.
Yeah.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
A terrible thing happened to me the other day. I saw you nestling into your chair there.
Yeah, now he looks happier.
Well, then, I should say it happened at a lovely place. I went to my friend's...
Most things do happen to you in a lovely place.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking
Where
about me
you spend all your
specifically
time.
or
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
So this was my friend Adam Kay, who's also a comic.
Yeah.
You heard of
A
him?
friend of mine.
Yes.
I know him.
I've heard of him.
Okay, calm down, everyone.
Nice guy.
So he's a lovely guy. He's just written a book, or wrote in a book, as I like to say, called This Is Going to Hurt. And it's very good, and you should buy it because it's brilliant. Because
about
he used to be a
his, medical
doctor.
career,
Yeah,
that's right.
obstetrician, I believe. And Daisy's a bit of a fan, so she came along and we had the phone call. She was like, "What are you wearing?" I got one of those texts, early doors. We went together with my goddaughter, Honey, who's 20. Don't do the math, I'm never going to tell you. And it was a lovely event. It was really nice, although he was a victim of his own success because it was absolutely packed. So
good.
much so, yeah, it was packed. We were sort of slightly rammed in and we got there, the speeches were starting, and Daisy and I were in the corridor.
Speeches.
There are speeches
Yeah,
at
they
a
do
book launch.
speeches at the
Book
book
launch.
launch saying
Reading?
thank you for coming.
Oh, no,
He
okay.
did do a reading. He did a reading. But I was next to a man, an elderly man. I think it's fair to say
no.
he'd had a few. He'd had a
All right.
few.
Drinks.
I don't know who he was. He had a very large pint glass and he was knocking it back and staggering a bit. And
I don't think you can have a large pint glass, but anyway. He had
no,
a
you're
pint glass.
right. Yeah, but it looked big. But I don't know because he was drinking it so
Because
quickly.
you were close to it.
Yeah, but Al, you're absolutely right. You're right to correct me on that. That's
You know,
sloppy.
I mean, I like
Right.
it though, because I once heard a woman on the phone say, "Oh, I owe you a big pint," to somebody that had done her a favour.
Al, you're right. I've let myself down with that
No,
pint
I think
glass.
it's fine. I think
No,
it's fine.
you're right to correct me on it though. Anyway, this man was a drunk. There's no easy way of saying this. Okay?
I like it.
He had
You're
badges.
taking your anger out on him.
Yeah, I'm angry at
Badges.
my own sloppiness. I'm taking it out on him. He had badges on his lapel in a sort of Alexi Sale in the 80s type way.
Okay.
Right.
From bands.
No
or something.
judgment, exactly. I mean, there was a Q magazine party hosted by Absolute Radio going on downstairs.
Right.
And Daisy walked in and
So
she
maybe
went,
he was
"Oh,
lost."
there's Absolute Radio down there. Do you think we should?" No. But he might have got lost. He might be like Chumbawamba's grandfather. I don't know. Anyway.
I like them.
He saw, they said, the nice publishing lady said, and there are copies of the book available at the reduced price of $10.99 if you'd like to buy them. That's my publishing voice. They're all scattered around. So this man suddenly grabs a copy of the book and says to his friend, "Smuggle." Daisy, what's going on? Daisy had pursed lips and arms folded. But that's not going to put the bonnet on the baby. I mean, we need to stop this theft. He goes, "Smuggle." Why was he saying smuggle? Hands it to a friend and put it near the friend's grubby rucksack and sort of shoved it in and went, "Smuggle." So I just thought, I've just witnessed a crime here.
Yeah.
He's stolen from my friend. I didn't say anything.
So he's saying smuggle because
Yes.
it's like a it's kind of a bantery, quite cute word for, "Oh, shall we steal this book?"
Theft.
Smuggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a.
So
oh,
what I'm
interesting.
saying
I've
is
never
I
heard.
didn't like that
I
man
guess
on
it
the
worked
internet.
for pirates.
I didn't do a citizen's arrest.
Is that what you did? When you smuggle things, do you have to go smuggle?
Why did he feel the need to do a sort of Cornish accent? But what I feel is that I feel I let my friend down. I think maybe I should have named and shamed that man. I didn't know his name, but I've given a good description, and I'm just saying I am now performing a citizen's arrest on you after the fact.
Oh.
Section 24A of the Criminal Justice Act.
Well, the assistant has got some links with the police, so maybe we could get that looked into.
Do you know what we're going to do now? She's going to help us with our inquiries.
Okay.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I'm at Adam Kay's book launch, and this man, I haven't performed a citizen's arrest on the drunk man, but I did have another slightly mortificado incident. So I'm there with Daisy, and I'm there with my goddaughter, and I'm deciding to leave, and my goddaughter's talking to this chap who looks, how old would you say, Days? I don't know, 30s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big enough bracket not to offend anyone. Although I don't know why I'm worried about offending him. Because he said, she introduced me, it was a very noisy bar, I should say.
Right.
And Honey, my goddaughter, she said she's my godmother. And I heard him say, oh, you don't look old enough, which is a nice thing to say. And I thought that was very sort of polite of him.
To you, or?
To me, to me. He said, oh, you don't look old enough. So when we went to leave...
Although there's no age requirement really with godparents, there's no reason why someone would be, you can be a godparent. You just have to be older than the child.
But I felt it came from a good place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, bye, Honey. Bye, Honey's grandmother.
Oh. Yeah, well, that's different. There is an age thing on grandparenting.
Yeah. So we'll just leave that there, shall I?
But not mathematically
Bye,
impossible,
Honey's
we should say.
grandmother.
So now, in retrospect, you maybe feel like he didn't seem surprised enough? Is that what you're feeling?
So when he said you don't look old enough...
Yeah.
No, I really hope I don't look old enough to be Honey's grandmother, who's 20.
I mean...
Wait, let me just do some maths.
I mean, it's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. Honey, I've never seen Honey look so tense. She went, godmother!
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Is Gareth doing a Susie Dent in the... No, it's Rachel Riley.
He's doing a little bit of sums.
I mean,
so,
there are very young grandparents these days.
Thanks for making me feel better, but I feel terrible. And... it would have been the second citizen's arrest of the evening had I not killed him with my bare hands.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We haven't had any idiotic eureka moments.
Oh,
and,
IMs.
And a couple of...
we don't have a jingle for that, Days, do we?
No.
Oh, I'm just going to make one up.
For people that aren't aware, the idiotic eureka moment is one of those moments where you realise a thing that should have been obvious all those years. So, for instance, Sooty and Sweep in the television programme is based on chimneys, Sooty and chimney sweep.
Yeah.
And we've had a fair few of these. Good morning, all. Thought I'd share an idiotic eureka moment I had the other day, albeit quite embarrassing. Well, it is when you get it and other people don't. So, I was watching the Tigger movie, Winnie the Pooh.
I didn't know he had his own breakout movie.
oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
With my young nephew the other day, and only realised...
Can I be me?
Only realised halfway through, Kanga and Roo, the kangaroos, together make the...
That is so stupid.
They make the word kangaroo. What a fool I've been. Have a great weekend, Luke from Cirencester.
Should be ashamed of himself.
Can we take a quick
Daisy.
room poll? Let's put the hands up.
Yes.
Let's put the hands up because that's great for radio. Who was familiar with this? And I'll report back. Who understood this beforehand? For whom is this not an idiotic eureka moment? Although, as Frank points out, that's the beauty of the idiotic eureka moment. There's always one person who says, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I did know this, Gareth.
Yes, of course.
Lemmy? Yeah.
Of course.
Daisy, the producer, didn't know it.
What, you didn't know?
I mean, it's
Kanga
like a
and
civic...
Roo?
Let's not...
What, until this very moment?
OK, excuse me.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's not shame these people.
Shame.
They shouldn't have to walk through the streets. It's not Game of Thrones. But, I mean, I thought personally that was obvious. But, you know...
I mean, if there's kangaroos called Kanga and Roo, I would, I mean...
But we're all God's children. And look, what do I know? I'm a grandmother. We are a grandmother. Shall I put that on my Twitter bio? Grandmother. OK, that's made the room silent. We've got to go soon. Anything else before we go?
There's another idiotic eureka moment. Someone realised on their holiday in Greece, alphabet is an amalgamation of the first two letters of the Greek alphabet. Alpha and bet.
OK, that's good.
Yeah,
they put hashtag jumped out of the pool like Archimedes.
How is it? William Rees-Mogg. Greek references. Listen, we're going to have to go. It's been sad not to have Frank, but it's been fabulous to have Alun and Gareth. And you, of course. I hope you enjoyed the show. Be seeing you.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.